Hey guys, we're just waiting another minute for more people to come. I see the attendee list is filling up, so we'll just give it another 30 seconds before we get started. Okay, I think we can get started, Jakob.
Perfect. So I can see from the attendee list here that we have people with us from all corners of the world. So good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Jakob. I work at the customer success team here at SalesScreen, and with me today I have my colleague Remi Morken, who is our CCO. First of all, some ground rules before we start. Everybody have been muted. This is to make sure that we don't get a lot of background noise during the presentation. However, in the bottom of your Zoom, there should be a Q&A function. So if you ask some questions there, we'll be able to answer them at the end of the webinar. This is a part of our webinar series. We started with the KPIs 14 days ago, and we have the KPIs 2.0 today. We will also continue this every 14 days, more on that at the end of the webinar. However, follow us on our social channels to get updated and attend the webinars that will be relevant for you. So with that being said, we will start today with a summary of our last webinar. This is because I can see from the attendee list that there's a lot of new faces here. So after we have summarized that, to begin with, in short, we will talk more about how to hold your reps accountable for the results they create, about team transparency, and about making data-driven decisions, and some gamifications at the end. So with that being said, Morken, I leave the word to you. Let's go.
Good. Yeah, thanks for joining. There's quite a lot of people there, so that's cool. Last week, or 2 weeks ago actually, we talked about defining your base KPIs and how we do this in sales. I had like this fantastic view of a marathon and how is that compared to sales. I'm not going to go through that today, but basically in sales, this is the top metric we all hunt for. It's how much revenue are we able to generate, how many deals won on an annual, quarterly, and on a monthly basis. And this is as it should be. This is the way the company grows. But in sales in general, I feel like we need to better understand the other KPIs that makes us come to a lot of deals and high revenue. I've defined them as base KPIs. That's my wording, so don't hang me. But in general, this is the end goal, and we need to look at the things that we can do to get to the end goal and create that accountability for each individual rep. So this is examples of base KPIs, but base KPIs are basically action points. There's actions completed by a sales professional before a deal is closed won. So you see some here: touch points, meetings booked, meetings completed, proposals, and so on. But your base KPIs needs to be individually created based on your business model. It can't be a generic. It's very often defined by industry, how the industry works, but in general, it should be very specific to how your company works. And with touch points, I mean the first interaction you have with your customer, like your calls, your emails, your LinkedIn outreach. In the last period, text has become popular again, sending SMS to your customers and leaving voicemails and all that stuff. But like in general, we say that all data tells us that 1 out of 25 touch points, or you need 25 touch points to connect with a customer. basically. So not just using the phone probably won't work. You need to combine and balance your prospecting. And the rest of the KPIs are basically next steps in your sales pipeline. How do you move the customer through your funnel in the end, where this is ends up in a close won deal. But if you have any questions with regards to KPIs, I've spent the last 6 years talking to a lot of different sales organizations. I have an understanding of how each different industry works and especially what the best performing sales teams does. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions with regards to base KPIs. And if you're going to look at this in a table view, it's all about conversion rates. Conversion rates is what's important. And we need to make each rep own and understand their personal base KPI targets. So what do they need to do to reach their revenue target in the end? So make sure that the goals that you define for your reps, especially on base KPIs, they are personally adjusted to their historical conversion rates. So in this case, we can see that in the bottom here, to create 500,000 euros new revenue on an annual basis, you need to close 50 deals because your average deal size is 10,000 euros. But to close 50 deals, you need to send 100 proposals because in this case, the conversion rate from proposal to closed deal is 50%. And to generate 100 proposals, you need to complete 200 demos because the conversion rate is 50%. And you need to create 222 opportunities, 90% conversion rate, and with a 4% conversion rate from touch point opportunity, you need to do 5,556 touch points in a year. If you drill that down on a daily basis, that's basically 15 touch points per rep per day. And that's maintainable. Okay, I have to send some cold emails. I have to reach out on LinkedIn. I need to pick up the phone and start dialing. But this is the way we see the best performing teams do this. And with this, it's so, and when you're doing this personalized as well, because for me, I might need 50 calls to book a meeting and Ole Jakob might need 10. So making these targets personal makes it so much easier for the rep to understand what they need to do. And it's way easier for you as a manager to hold them accountable. So when you're having your target conversations, it's super easy because you've agreed on this. So a short summary from this and the last webinar. So identify and define your base KPIs. What kind of metrics do you need to complete to, in the end, get your revenue goal? Calculate the numbers from sales target to first touch point and make sure that these numbers aren't insanely high. It needs to be something that they can do. I think maybe the third one is the most important one after identifying them, but personalize. Make these base KPIs or activity goals based on individual data, based on their personal conversion rates. Because if they understand and agree, and that's the next one, make them own and agree to their personal targets, there's no question. And it's all about, have I done it or haven't I done it? And it's all about, then you could just talk about eliminating excuses. In the good SalesScreen spirit, we have to say visualize and gamify all targets. I think that's obliged for us. And of course, last but not least, we have to follow up with target conversations at a frequent basis, because in the end, it's all about having a personal relationship with your sales reps. They're not machines. Your managers are not machines. So make it relevant and make them want to work for themselves and for you as a manager. So that's like the basis of this. What we're going to talk about next now is how we can create that accountability, because you need tools. And we created a quite good one called SalesScreen. So we need tools so that the reps can understand and that you as managers can understand how to do this. We created Scorecards. This is a quite new feature for us. We launched it, I don't know, maybe November. So it's not available for all our customers yet. I know that you're going to say this later, but I'm going to say it now. If you want to test scorecards, if you're an existing customer, you want to test scorecards for free, just let us know. We're going to help you create this. You need to see what it's all about first, but of course. But scorecards is a way to create accountability, create team transparency, and make it easier for you as managers to make data-driven decisions. Because a lot still, and I do this all the time, I make decisions based on gut feeling. And then it's a 50-50 case. Is your gut feeling correct or wrong? But if you have data, it's so much easier to back it. And we see that in sales cases, but it's also like that in general. So let's dig a bit deeper into scorecards to see what kind of benefits this offers. So I've shown a view now. This is from one of our demo accounts, but scorecards is basically, it's fully customizable based on your funnel pipeline. So we've done this now from touch point, opportunity, to demo completed, to proposal sent, but this could be anything. As long as it's in SalesScreen, we can pull it and we can create a scorecard on it. We have to create them personally, as we said. I was actually a bit scared because I didn't think we had them on a personal level, but we do. So you can define a scorecard on each different rep, so that Ole Jakob, his scorecards could be totally different than his colleague in customer success as well, but based on his conversion rates and on the customers he's working on compared to his colleague. And as you see here, we've defined the scorecards here based on the conversion rates we looked at earlier. So 75 touch points, that's Lauren's goal. That should generate 3 opportunities, which should generate 2.7 demos completed, and in the end, 1.5 proposal sent. So it's all about just creating that view and holding them accountable. You can create these scorecards based on a weekly, on a monthly basis, or whatever you want, but drill it down to each rep. And when implementing this, our customers tell us that the reps understand better what they need to do, because it's right in front of them. It's on their mobile phone, it's on the web dashboard, it can even be on the TV screen, but it's even easier for them to understand what they do. And you can weigh these. So in this case, I've weighed opportunities with 40%, while I've weighed the rest with 20%. But in this case, so if I can't reach my proposal goal, I can make up for that with creating new opportunities. So in the end, the goal is to get 100 points each week or each month or whatever you do. So that's your primary objective score. We should call it the base KPI score. So what kind of activities do you need to do to reach your revenue score? And in this case, we put the revenue score on this month and 41,667 euros. But what we very often see is that the base KPI number and the objective score, the sales target, they correlate. I have a perfect example internally in our organization. One of our sales reps is doing everything that he needs, and he reaches the target every month because he knows what he needs to do to get there. But they correlate. So if you have a high primary objective score, you're going to have a high secondary objective score. And if you're not getting it this month, you're still building pipeline. You're doing the right activities, and you're going to get there in the end. When it comes to team transparency and data-driven decision-making, more from the sales manager perspective, for you as manager, so this is a team view of a scorecard. So this is team AC, and you can see their scorecard. So they're doing all their touches. They've completed the touch points. They have created 50% of the opportunities that they need to create, and so on. And we can see on an individual basis here. So Rodney, his conversion rate is okay. He's converting 1 out of 35 calls. He's actually more demos completed than opportunities, but he's only sent proposals to 1 out of 3 demos completed. So with this said, in this case, I would probably try to work with Rodney on what is Rodney doing in the end of his demo. Is it good enough to book the next steps, ask those difficult questions about price, budget, timing, procurement, everything? so that we can get a proposal out. Because for somebody to purchase, they need to see a price. With Ayana, we have an issue with regards to the conversion rate from touch point to opportunities. She's not converting her conversations or her calls. So in this case, this is a situation for a manager where you need totally different focus. So Rodney, he needs coaching on what happens in the end of his demo and on to closing, while Ayana needs help on what happens from contact to opportunity created. So she needs help in her first conversation. When she gets an opportunity, she's good. She's doing the things that she needs to do. So for a manager, it's so much easier for you to make data-driven decisions, especially with regards to coaching, and also with regards to what activities your reps need to do and what you need to focus on. And being able to do this on an individual basis just creates that dynamic and atmosphere. And for the reps as well, to have a manager that actually knows what they need help with. Because in the end, we do a lot of team trainings, especially we talk about a subject, and this is what occupies everybody, but maybe only 30% need help on that subject. So do coaching individually. Yeah.
Perfect. I can just add here, for those who have never seen this before, the black dots you see in the middle of the page is not a bad copy paste. This is based on where you are supposed to or should be to reach 100% in this period. Yeah. So here we have a weekly on the primarily score, and we have monthly on the secondary objective score. So these black dots is where you should be. And also on top there, you can see that this works in individual, team, department, layers and company layers, which is the layers we offer in SalesScreen. In addition to this, it's quite good in terms of privacy. So you can make sure that individuals only see their own scorecards, and not everybody else's, and only that if you have an admin access, you're able to kind of monitor this. So the privacy here is good as well. But again, if you want to learn more about Scorecards, Remi mentioned this, we offer a 1 month free test for everybody who is here. Please just contact one of us or at the SalesScreen support chat. We
actually received 2 requests already, so that's good.
Yes, and our emails will be at the end of the presentation. The support chat is, if you sign into SalesScreen, the chat bubble at the bottom. Everybody who works that chat today knows what this is about and will help you, guide you in the right direction. So,
because like the first step of setting up scorecards, you need some help, because we need to make sure that you have all your base KPIs integrated, and then we need to set it up and make it understandable. So just feel free to reach out to us. We're not going to dig very much deeper into this, because this needs to be done on an individual level. So this is like helicopter view of scorecards and how to create accountability, transparency, and data-driven decision-making. What I want to talk about next is a thing that's close to my heart, at least. It's the beautiful topic of gamification. This is something we love and we see the effect of. So I'm not going to go deep into gamification. We're going to spend the next 2 webinars to talk about gamification, but we're just going to touch into it today to talk about the underlying factors and what the fuss is all about, basically, because it's a buzzword, but what does it really do? So in short, gamification is motivation. And you have 2 different ways of motivating, 2 types of motivation. It's the intrinsic, your inner motivation, and extrinsic, your outer motivation. What we all want is our employees to be intrinsically motivated. Because if you're intrinsically motivated, you have a burning passion for the thing you do, and you believe in it, like we do for SalesScreen and gamification and scorecards and everything. But to become intrinsically motivated, you need some extrinsic motivation. You need to get confirmation, a pat on the back, a constant flow of mastery, basically, where you master one thing and you get to master another thing. And when you mastered enough, you're intrinsically motivated about that. That's my personal way of looking at it, at least. So with gamification, we primarily work with extrinsic or outer motivation, but with the purpose of creating intrinsic motivation when they master all the challenges and everything that gamification offers. So gamification in general is like motivation. Actually, it's super simple. The gamification engagement loop is I do an action. And when I do that action, I get feedback. And feedback could be the fact that I unlock a badge, or that I climb to the next step in the hierarchy, or that I step up to the competition, or I win the competition. But I get feedback. I either get feedback from the system, and the system also offers to send notifications. So the rest of the team, your other colleagues and your managers, get a notification. So for example, when Tori has done the thing that we want her to do, I can get a push notification, and then I can give her a pat on the back as it happens. And I think that's one of the most important things, because when I've done that action that requires attention, it's about giving that feedback instantly, because then you can reset, the motivation is sparked, and then we can do new actions. And this, in the end, increases productivity. So gamification in general, quite simple, magical, and it works. And last but not least, but that's a bit fast. But in general, gamification creates value. I don't know if you have any.
Yes, well, I can only speak from my experience here, but we see this and today as well, and with our customers, we see if you drive competitions where you get some visualizations, if you have internal battles, one-to-one battles between sales rep, and it doesn't always have to be sales rep. I'm not a sales rep, I work with customer success, and still you get some shine on the TV when you do something which is valuable for the company and valuable for your team, and the feeling you get when the CEO who's sitting in New York and you probably don't even know your name comments, "Hey, great work, Will Jakob. This is keep the good work going." That endorsement, we see that create motivation, not only at our place, but with customers that I speak with every day also say the same. And yeah, this I think will be the next topic for our next webinars. We have a 9-step plan on implementing gamification, which will be the main topics. We will see different way of using gamification for motivating, for endorsing, and for creating not only increased sale, but also a better company culture, tying people together as a whole, because at the end, these are kind of the main thing gamification does for a company.
And like gamification, it sounds super simple. It's just about putting some badges and give some people some ranks and you're off to go. But you need to have a plan behind it, because gamification, like you've downloaded a mobile game and you played it for 2 days and then you're sick and tired because it didn't manage to hold that motivation and engagement over time. And that's why we need a plan behind it. And that's why we have people like Ole Jakob, who's going to help you create that plan so that the motivation lasts. It's not for 2 weeks or 2 months. It's going to be for every year. When we're done with that year, we're going to create a new way of doing it so that you, as a company, can keep your people highly motivated and challenge them all the time to reach the next steps. I think that's what we have for today. It was a short, nice webinar.
I can wrap it up before we see if there's so many questions in the Q&A.
Yeah, feel free to ask us some questions now. We're going to stay here for another 5-10 minutes. So if you want, reach out.
To summarize, if you are interested in Scorecards, our newest feature, and you're already an existing customer, or if you're curious about SalesScreen at all, please feel free to reach out to us. You see our emails on the screen now. We have people on the support chat to help and assist, and we'll book in a meeting and help you set it up, and you'll get the first month for free. If you get in touch with us within today or tomorrow, we'll be able to get you going already next week. So I think that's an offer. You can test it at certain places of your organization, and it's quite a good offer for to test it out. It's nothing to lose on your end. So I don't know, I can start with a question I received the other day from a customer. Last webinar, we spoke about targets, and we showed you how to create targets in SalesScreen and visualizing them and creating competitions. And I got the questions, how do targets differ from scorecards?
Good question. Difficult to answer. I think like targets in general, it's a way of defining your sales targets basically, while scorecards is more correlated to the completion of sales targets. It's a scorecard. It's what do you need to do to reach your sales target in the end. So it's more aligned with base KPIs, and it's more aligned with all those different activities you as a rep need to do to get to the end goal, and it's easier to understand. And with the way you can weigh points, you can say that this one is more important than this one. It's a way of creating that transparency internally in a much better way.
Yeah, it's a good answer. I believe it's the same. And you also are able to track your own performance. You can weigh different metrics. So it's kind of a summarization of the targets and how are you doing of all your targets in general. I totally agree on that. I don't know if there's any questions on the support chat.
No, we got a chat here from Jack Smith, who said, thanks for the help, guys. Brilliant webcast. Can we test scorecards, please? Yeah, Jack, we'll fix that for you. Jacob will reach out.
Yes, I will get in touch with you.
For sure. So next webinar in 2 weeks, we're going to dig deeper into gamification. We're going to talk about the 9-step plan. We're going to talk about some of the things we do and how we mean our customers should do this to get the best possible end result, which is more
best practice.
Yeah, best practice. Okay, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure as always. I wish you a jolly Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, or morning, depending.
Yeah, I forget that. Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.